I'm Ray. My journey started in the Coast Guard in 2017 when I went to boot camp and went from there to the Mellon in Seattle, Washington as a non-rate for about 6 months. And then I went over to CSA school, and then after that I went back to the Mellon in Seattle. And that's where I'm currently right now, where they're going to be decommissioned and I'm moving again shortly. So the reason why I didn't do the critical rate and go straight to A school after boot camp was because I wasn't going to go CS at all. I was planning on going HS. It was something that interested me because I just wanted to be able to provide a service and help people somehow. But then I found out that I actually get nauseous at the sight of blood, and anything that has to do with that kind of just grosses me out. So I changed my mind and decided to provide a service still and go CS because, for one, it's less cringy and I would be doing something that I love doing, which is cooking. Overall, it just sounded more fun to me, something that I would actually have fun doing. So A school was a lot of fun. It was only 3 months long, but then you actually learned a lot. Like, I hadn't cooked lobsters before, I hadn't filleted a fish before. All this was completely new to me and was really cool. But then after that phase was over, it was just like a normal job. We started off in the upper galley and then we went down to the lower galley where everyone ate on the base in Petaluma. And we would just cook every day. You would either be part of the morning crew or the dinner crew. But if you were the morning crew, you had to get there at like 3:30 in the morning or something crazy like that. And you had to finish preps and cook breakfast and lunch, I believe, or just breakfast. And then you would get to leave, which would still be kind of late. And then the dinner crew would finish up dinner and do cleanups. And then it'd be like that for the whole week. And then the next week it would alternate. But it went by really fast, and Petaluma was beautiful. I just remember all the geese. There were a lot of geese running around there. So it was like really easy at A school because each person had one product, or maybe you would finish your product and help somebody else with theirs. So sometimes it wasn't even just you had someone else helping you with that product as well. So they didn't really prepare you for like how you'd be in charge of like cooking everything on the menu for like 20-40 people, but the actual basics on how everything is done, yeah, they got that covered. Things I like about being a CS is I like the schedule. Any other rate, I feel like they work Monday to Friday, but a CS is 2 on, 2 off, sliding weekends, all kinds of crazy schedules, and you can work with your CS1s or chiefs to figure out which schedule works for you guys, and it's really nice. So I'm not going in every day. I feel like it's a lot of time off. I also love the creative freedom you have because you don't have to cook the meal an exact way. Like, sometimes they print out recipes, but you can add whatever you want to it, little spices, anything to make it unique or to make it like your signature dish, whatever you want to do. I'm also constantly learning things all the time. I'll always have those skills from now on out. Whatever I do in life, I'll be able to cook. Oh, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of the rates, they have to spend 24 hours on the boat and spend the night there for their duty days. For a CS, being a CS3 and a CS2, you don't ever have to stay on duty, and it's really nice because you can always sleep in your own bed at night. My CS1 stands duty, and I think depending on the unit, you will when you're CS1. So things I dislike the most is that when you are working, the days are long and you're constantly on your feet. And even if you thought the meal was great and everything, there's always going to be someone who thought it wasn't, or just complains and doesn't like it. The downside is that you can't satisfy everyone, and you just have to accept that. Since as duty cooks, we don't usually make the menus, and we don't really know what to expect, so when they come out, they're routed up the chain of command, captain signs them off, and then we see the results. And it's hard sometimes because there's things on the menus that we've never made before, we're not comfortable making, but you still have to like power through it and figure it out. So sometimes I'll be stressed about having to make something because I don't completely know how it's done or I've never done it before, so it's kind of scary. But in the same way where that's a downside, it can also be a good thing too because you're forced to try something new. Someone once told me that they thought being a CS was the hardest job, and I was like, why? Because MKs are down there working their butts off and I don't understand. And they were just like, yeah, well, your meal gets 3 times a day and you can't completely satisfy everyone. This is all true, but like, you're not their mother. They can pack their own food if they're not happy with how you cook. Another downside is all of the cleaning. You have to swab every day, sweep after the meals. You're constantly cleaning the cookware you use. I'm so thankful that mess cooks exist because on top of that we would have to clean like the dishes, the mess deck and all that stuff. They are a huge help when it comes to cleaning because it's such a big part of cooking. So the advice I would give to you if you're going to be CS or you're interested in the rating is that if you put the effort forward and you care about what you're doing, it'll show no matter what. You know, if you are a really good cook, you can end up cooking for an admiral or even the president one day. Those are definitely options and something to work hard for if that's something you want. So I'm just gonna answer some questions that, I'm sorry if I mispronounce this, but Lamary Rodriguez Gonzalez, he's been commenting on some of these videos and he plans on going CS in a few months, headed off to boot camp, just like that. Question number 1 was, who decides the menu for the week? And normally that is the senior chief right now is doing it. It could be your first class. And one time when we pulled back into port, they asked us to, each of us, make a week's menu. And so we actually made our own menus for a couple weeks during stand down. But normally that doesn't happen and that was like a one-time thing. So I guess you could work that out with them. Hey, if you were a CS3 or a CS2 and on a boat and you were sick of cooking their menus and were like, hey, let me make my own menu. All you have to do is make it and get it approved and they would probably accept it. Does the Coast Guard put CSs on cutters or different units depending on their rank? Yeah, you're not going to be a CS3 independent duty. Independent duty is for the smaller units that have, say, 11 people or so, and you have to be at least a CS2 and go through a class to be qualified for this independent duty because you're running the whole shebang. You're ordering the food, you're making the menus, you're running everything. But a CS3 will not do that. So it definitely depends on your rank for where they put you because there's also billets for each rank. You're not going to fill a billet for a CS1 if you're a CS2 and vice versa. Different job responsibilities. And also duty cooks are the cooks. That's usually when you're a CS3 and a CS2. Once you start moving up, you cook less and less. So once you become a CS1, you barely cook anything. You'd mainly be making the menus and all the paperwork side of it. So, unless you become an admiral cook, I have a friend named Mandy, she's an admiral's cook and she's a CS1. And then another question, what do you do when you're not on duty and cooking on the boat? I make YouTube videos. I don't even know, just normal life stuff. So, underway, if I wasn't cooking or on duty, I would just find other ways to entertain myself. Read books, whatever entertainment that I had to pass the time. You could sleep if you wanted to. You're trapped on a boat at this point, so just whatever you can find to do. On land, I try to get involved. I would have liked to get involved in the community of Seattle, but I feel like I never officially got to. I would find friends here and there, but they would just come and go, mostly just go and forget about you because you keep going on your way. The only true friends that I found was people that I actually work with, and you just hang out with them a lot because it's hard to get connected with in a community that you're not there 100%. Some people use their time to do college classes, and some people get side jobs. I mean, if you have the time for it, nothing's stopping you. Alright.